You talk about the fact that Manchester City are still massive favourites, 5-2 on, to win the Premier League title. Liverpool are at 9-4. Ian, is that fair? Do Liverpool deserve a little more respect from the bookies?
Yeah, I think they do. I really do think they do because, with Virgil van Dijk at the back, they've got a good goalkeeper. OK, he made a bit of a mistake in the Manchester United game, but he's a very good goalkeeper. The spine of the team is good. I think the forwards now are starting to fire again, not in the way they did last season, but Salah recently got a hat-trick. Mane's always going to get some goals, and you've got somebody like Shaqiri who can come on and give them a little bit of something extra, as he did in the game against Manchester United. You know, they've played, I think nobody scored more than a goal against them. They've had 17 games, they've kept 10 clean sheets. Yeah. I think they're here to stay at the top. I really do.
Yeah, they've only given up 7 goals domestically all season, Shaq. Yet we seem to be dismissing them. They're doing well now, but they're going to fall off.
I think part of the issue is, well, obviously Manchester City are defending champions, and I think that has some value in knowing that they can go the full distance. We're still yet to find that out about Liverpool. The other thing is, I still don't think that this Liverpool team have been at their best, or as good as they can be. Yet they sit at the top. So you're left kind of in between how to think about them. Are they going to get better and put maybe a bigger gap between
But they don't need to
and
get
City?
better, do they?
Well, that's the thing. You do feel that City can, well, with the inclusion of Kevin De Bruyne, can be a little bit better between now and the end of the season. The bigger question is whether Liverpool can maintain this pace, or is that poor form going to catch up with them? That's the kind of conundrum that they have us in right now.
They've only dropped 4 points all season, playing apparently rubbish football.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but we're genuinely still talking about Manchester City as big favourites.
Yeah, well, I would suggest that Manchester City are favourites, yes. I would agree that, City can, like Liverpool.
Since he's left United, this story has snowballed, and you've said in the past on this very show that he still maintains an excellent relationship with the president, Florentino Perez. Why?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, we really could be here all day, and I realise that there's a risk of kind of going round and round in circles with this. I'm going to try and be as clear-cut as I possibly can. When Mourinho left last time, the situation was completely unsustainable. They couldn't carry on like that. But just because they couldn't carry on like that didn't mean that, on some levels at least, the president didn't want to carry on like that. Now, Florentino Perez believes that Mourinho is the best of the managers that he has. He believes that also Mourinho is the one that he's had the kind of, if you like, the closest relationship with, the clearest sense of how to manage a dressing room. And so there's a bit of him, and this is the key point here, is there is a big part of Florentino Perez that has kind of, in the background, somewhere in the back of his mind, has always thought, I'd like Mourinho back. I'd like Mourinho to be here. I think Mourinho is the right man, but also known that it's problematic to do so. So there's a bit of him now that really kind of almost hankers for Mourinho's return, but also recognises and has people around him that recognise that this is problematic, which is one of the reasons why there's no guarantee that this will happen. But if you asked him, and he gave you a straight, honest answer, who would you want as manager? Not necessarily who you're going to go for. Who would you want as manager? Mourinho, I think, would be one of 2 or 3 answers at very, very most.
What do the fans say about this, Sid?
Well, look, you have to remember that Real Madrid's fans are not entirely united on this, OK? So you have a situation in which there are a lot of Real Madrid fans, and you only really need to ask this question on Twitter to see the kind of different sort of responses from Real Madrid fans. You have a lot of Real Madrid fans who say, please, no, let's not go through this again. Let's not have this problem again. Let's not have the divide with the dressing room. Let's not have the bitterness and the arguments and the sense. And genuinely, that last season for Mourinho really was a season too far. And I think maybe the response would be different if he left after the end of the second season. But then you have other Real Madrid fans, particularly those who would consider themselves perhaps a little bit more radical, consider themselves perhaps a touch more aggressive, who would see him as the man who, after 6 years of going out without winning a single Champions League knockout tie, went to 3 Champions League semi-finals. The man who challenged, in their view, Barcelona and took the game to them and was aggressive and stood up to them. The man who they believe was politically incorrect, but they love that about him, that was kind of aggressive with what they would see as, if you like, kind of the establishment of Spanish football. And so he is in many ways a divisive figure, but that divisiveness doesn't mean that everybody is against it. It is quite literally divisive in that there is a strong, hard core of support who do want him there. That said, there's a huge amount of support as well that doesn't.
Lucas Hernandez to Bayern Munich. That's the rumours that's circulating at the moment, for a big figure as well. €80 million. Sidlow, what do you make of this?
Well, this is a story that was broken by the Spanish newspaper Marca, and the way that they're presenting this is that what will happen is that Bayern Munich will pay Lucas Hernandez's buyout clause, that he's prepared to go, and in that sense it will be a situation in which Atletico Madrid can do nothing about it. And that's the context in which you have to read Atletico Madrid's denial. Because Atletico Madrid is saying this isn't going to happen. But of course, if this is done the way that they say it will be done, it will be unilateral and they won't be able to prevent this. And the curious thing about this is, in a way, that this is a problem that Atletico Madrid knew they were going to have. But if you remember back to the summer before the World Cup, it was a problem that was focused on Antoine Griezmann and his €100 million buyout clause. A buyout clause that was expensive, obviously, but very much payable by FC Barcelona. In the end, they managed to persuade Griezmann to stay. They were also concerned about the possibility of clubs coming for Jan Oblak. So far, they've managed to prevent that. But without kind of focusing on the other players, they've then seen that people are now coming in for Lucas Hernandez. And I think they've got a genuine problem, Atletico Madrid, because in a way, they now have an expenditure which is beyond what they can pay. And this is likely to happen with other players as well. But right now, it's a problem in terms of Lucas Hernandez. My guess now is that what will happen is that Atletico Madrid will try to go to Bayern Munich with some sort of offer, because effectively, it's Bayern Munich's decision now to accept or not accept anything that happens here, not Atletico Madrid's decision. And so they can maybe go to Bayern Munich and say, OK, look, you can get him slightly cheaper, but don't take him off us halfway through the season, because that's the key element in this. This is not something they're saying he's going to come up in the summer. According to the report, this is something that will happen now during the winter window.
Hello, welcome to Extra Time, ladies and gentlemen. It is our Christmas party this evening. What could possibly go wrong?
Uh-oh. I'm going to have to leave you early this evening.
Why is that, Shaq?
Where are you going, Shaq?
To get a good night's rest.
No, you're staying over as well, aren't you?
I need to get 8 hours sleep every night.
Well, that's all right. You'd have to get up.
That may not happen tonight, Shaq.
What time do you have to get up tomorrow?
I wake up at 6 a.m. every day.
Well, not tomorrow.
Because I'm disciplined.
Hold on, you need 8 hours.
I'm
You won't be
dedicated.
getting up till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
It'll be all right.
I tell you.
Is there a more meaningless... Is there a more...
A busy festive fixture list coming up in the Premier League. These selections are for this weekend only, so let's get to them. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, not the captain this week, but in our lineup. Hasn't quite been among the goals of late, but he's been close. I think he'll get among them again against Burnley this weekend. Now, Romelu Lukaku, it's the first time he's featured this season under new management. Gunnar Solskjaer in charge now. Will that see a change of fortunes for United? Well, I hope so, with Lukaku at Cardiff. Raheem Sterling, the Tier 1 midfielder, captaining the side. He was on the bench last week, so he should start this week. Felipe Anderson, it's just a set and forget with him because he's playing so well. Robert Snodgrass is someone who's been out on loan, come back, and he's really hit the ground running. West Ham at home to Watford this week. I thought about Andrew Robertson, but I've gone for Marcus Alonso. A lot of people in other fantasy games have got rid of him. I wouldn't. They're at home to Leicester, Chelsea, and I'd put Marcus Alonso in your team. Lucas Digne, another. Forget the fact that Spurs will probably score at Goodison. There's a chance that Lucas Digne could score as well, as he did from that set piece a few days ago. And Rui Patricio, I think he'll be busy. Wolves at home to Liverpool. They've beaten big teams before at home at Molineux, and I think he'll have plenty save points. That is our Premier League selection for this weekend. When you're playing ESPN FC Fantasy Football, there's not always easy selections. There is this week. Lionel Messi. Barcelona take on Celta Vigo at home, and Real Madrid aren't even playing. Set and forget, make him your captain. Rodrigo for Valencia. He's only got a couple of goals this season, but Huesca come calling to Mestalla, and I think he'll be among the goals in that one. Ever Banega for Sevilla go to Leganés. That's a tough selection this week in the Tier 1 midfielder, but we're pinning our hopes on the Sevilla number 10. Borja Garcia of Girona against Getafe. They're at home. I expect good things from him. Iaramendi from Sociedad. I'm selecting the teams that are at home to sides that they're fancied to beat, although Alaves will not be easy for Sociedad this week. Jordi Alba for Barca against Celta Vigo. Hugo Mayo for Vigo at Barca, because I think he'll be busy trying to defend. And our goalkeeper, Fernando Pacheco. Alaves, who've had a really good season so far, go to Sociedad, and I think he will rack up the save points. That's our Spanish La Liga fantasy picks this week.
'Tis the season to be festive, and Stevie Nicol, we've got a lot of festive fixtures. Just let me stick with my intro. 'Tis the season to be festive and a lot of festive fixtures to get to, Stevie. And Premier League predictor, let's start off with Wolves, Liverpool. I'm just going to go right ahead.
Well, you should as well. I mean, there seems no reason why Liverpool's not going to win this game. Wolves struggling to score goals, really. So, yeah, it's a Liverpool win.
Arsenal, not the best week for them. Things
No.
got a little heated in the North London derby. Can they bounce back against Burnley?
Yeah, I think so. Burnley's points this year, the ones that they will get are going to be at home, not away from home. They've been awful away from home. Arsenal win at home.
I'm going to go with the Gunners as well. Bournemouth, Brighton.
Can't separate them. Bournemouth, either good or bad, one or the other. Brighton, very consistent, not exciting, but can get the job done. So I don't see anything to separate these two. I'm going to go for a boring draw.
Oh, man, I wanted to sit on the fence too, but just for that, I think I'll give Bournemouth the edge on this one, just because I have to. Chelsea, Leicester.
I'm going to go Chelsea. Leicester, I'm not quite sure whether they're going to go away from home and defend or whether they're going to go away from home and attack. For me, they get caught in between, so I think Chelsea just have too much for them anyway. There you go. Chelsea wins.
I'm going to pick the Blues to not be singing the blues after this one. Huddersfield, Southampton.
Southampton did win.
Finally!
Last for Mr. Hasselhout.
Oh, fancy.
But I don't think they're going to get two in a row. Huddersfield have been so much better recently and they're at home. Huddersfield wins.
I'm going to still ride on the Southampton train slightly, and I'm going to sit on the fence for this one.
It won't very quick.
And I'm going to, it won't go very quick, but I'm going to go for a draw on this one.
Okay.
Moving on now, can you even make a case for Crystal Palace against Manchester City? Go ahead. It's a battle.
I'm not even going to say anything.
Yeah, we're just going to smooth right on. Newcastle, Fulham, though.
I'm going to go with Newcastle. No question, even as bad as Fulham are, Newcastle will sit tight, bring them on, and then break. And eventually get a goal. We're going Newcastle here.
Yep, I'm going to go Newcastle as well. The great Stevie Nicol. West Ham against Watford.
Is there a team that's turned the season around so quickly in West Ham?
Yep.
I mean, an incredibly bad start, but all of a sudden they seem favourites every time they step on the field pretty much now. So I'm going for West Ham's win.
I do like me some Watford, and I know that they do like a good scrap here and there. West Ham definitely have some momentum on their side, so I'm going to go for a draw on this one, Stevie. Right. I'm going to go for a draw on this one. Cardiff, I almost nearly picked them up against Manchester United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
This has got Manchester United win written all over it. Listen, Cardiff will fight at home, no question. They'll give it a go, but the shackles will be off. Manchester United will at last go out and open up and play, I think, and win this game because Cardiff are just not that great, and this will be a calm and enjoyable game, I think, for Manchester United at last.
Oh, when's the last time we got to say that? It's not going to be easy for Solskjaer going back to Cardiff, but I still think that he and the Red Devils will get the job done. Everton, Spurs.
Got to go for Spurs. Ultra professional. When they're not playing well, they're still hard to beat. They're on a decent run, and I think they've got too much for Everton, who at home will have to come out. So Everton will win. Tottenham will win this one at Everton.
Ooh, Stevie ever choosing an Everton win? That will be a bright, bright day, or a dark day for Liverpool fans. Thanks so much to Stevie Nicol for this one. Continue tracking everything from the Premier League. You know where, right here. Stevie Nicol is joining me for another edition of Syria a Predictor. Stevie, are you ready?
Aye.
Let's get right into it. Chievo up against Inter.
It'll have been a strange week for Inter.
Very
with all the talk about Mourinho maybe taking over from Spalletti. Fortunately for them, though, they're playing Chievo, who are not very good. Slap bang bottom of the league. So I'm going to have to go with Inter Milan.
I think Inter and Spalletti can definitely take care of Chievo in this one.
Yes.
Lazio, Cagliari.
I don't think there's that much between these sides. I enjoy watching Lazio play, though, to be honest, and they're at home, and that's why I'm going to go for a Lazio victory.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I'm just going to go with the home team for home advantage, plain and simple. AC Milan up against Fiorentina.
This is a tough one for Milan. They had a horrible result last week against Bologna.
Everything seems like a tough one for Milan.
I know, and Fiorentina, if they win this game, will go above Milan. I think this is going to be tight. I think this has got draw written all over it.
What?
Yep.
I keep choosing AC Milan in these kind of
Well, you'll be
fixtures.
right eventually if you keep
And
that.
that's what I'm going to just carry on choosing them and see. Hopefully they do get this one for the Milan faithful. Napoli spell.
To me, this is a bit of a mismatch. Napoli at home, no question. I don't think there's a Spal player would get in the Napoli side, maybe not even on the bench. So, you know, for Napoli, unless they are at their worst, it has to be a Napoli victory.
I agree with you, Stephen.
Yep.
Gonna go with him. Now we're talking. Juventus, Roma.
Well, it's hard to go against Juventus at home against anybody. But for me, Roma lose far too many goals. Juventus will get more than one. I usually go for a 1-0 victory for Juventus, but on this occasion I'm not. Roma will come out and try and score. That means they'll leave holes. And as I said, defensively they haven't been at their best. Juventus will take advantage. I think this will be a comfortable Juventus win.
Comfortable win for the old lady as
Yes.
well. Gonna go with it too. Stevie,
Yep.
well, we almost agree on everything. I've just put my eggs in the AC Milan basket. Once again, we'll see if it works out. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has a lot of damage control to do at Manchester United. Stevie, and word is he could get £50 million to at least start doing some of that damage control in this January transfer window. Bit of interesting, this situation for an interim manager.
Strange is that's talking mildly. Why would they give a guy who they've brought in just to sit on the bench and keep things ticking over till they get somebody they want? Why would they give him £50 million? It makes absolutely no sense. Unless they try to be clever, unless they actually have set a deal up to bring somebody in January and they're just trying to make it out as though they're giving it to Solskjaer, but it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And well, it sort of plays into what's going on at United right now. A shambles, crazy decisions all over the place, confusion, you name it. So it just fits in nicely with where they are right now.
Well, say you're him. What are you trying to do in this situation? Because £50 million in this day and age is not a lot. We were just talking about, you know, the rumours with Koulibaly to Man United. You said that wouldn't even afford his right boot.
No, correct.
And United obviously need a lot of reinforcements at the moment. So what's he to do with it? Where does he start?
Well, I think, no question, if you're a coach and you walk into Manchester United today, you have to sort out the defence. So it would have to be a centre-back. But again, we go back to the amount of money they said is available. You know, you're not going to get a Koulibaly type or a Van Dijk type to come in and sort your defence out. Those guys cost way more than 50 million. So if 50 million is what they're looking to use, they ain't getting a world-class centre-back. Or probably a world-class player in it either.
So still much of the same. We're just as confused as before.
Pretty much.
All right, well, there you have it. I suppose that doesn't bode very well for the January transfer window. And Manchester United, as Stevie says, is just much of the same, which is confusion. What would your week be without some transfer rates? And we've got Stevie Nicol here with me to tackle some of these. Stevie, let's start off with Koulibaly. I know how much you rate him.
Yep.
To Manchester United, now that it's times anew there, would you think this is a hit or miss?
I don't think there's any possibility of this happening in the next window at all. You know, Man United are talking about maybe spending 50 million. That would get the right boot of this guy.
Exactly.
So it's not going to happen. That is absolutely a miss.
Eventually, though?
Possibly.
Possibly. We'll tackle that another day. Mesut Ozil, we know the troubles he's going through at Arsenal, but still such a top player. So would you just expect him to leave Arsenal now, especially in January?
Yeah, it's a matter of time. I'm sure he'll be hoping it will happen in January. The new rules mean that, you know, teams in the Champions League can sign one player. He would be a great addition for anybody. Wages are going to be a problem, but I think he will move, and a deal will be sorted one way or the other.
To think, not even on the bench or on the squad for Unai Emery in the North London derby. Douglas Costa to Manchester United.
Not so sure about this. You know, I think Man United right now need proven world-class ability. Douglas Costa possibly has world-class ability. He just doesn't show it consistently. And I don't think United need another guy they can't rely on. You know, Martial, as good as he is in and out. So I don't think this is going to happen at all. No, I don't see it. It's a miss for you over on your side.
All right. Neymar now. The world definitely can be his oyster. So would a move away from PSG be a hit or miss for him?
Well, it's not going to happen in January. I think the only way he moves if it's another failure, or the only possibility of him moving, is another failure in the Champions League and the owners rethink how they'd go about it. So it's not happening in January. I guess it'll happen eventually, but no, not in January.
And finally, Mats Hummels, we keep talking about Bayern Munich and how they do possibly need to move on from certain players. Would a move to Chelsea be a hit or a miss for him? Absolutely.
I mean, really. The guys are coming, not in age, but he doesn't have the legs anymore.
No.
He doesn't make as good decisions anymore. There's no way that he fits in the Premier League for any team, never mind Chelsea. So, no, absolutely. Of all of these, that's a definite miss.
All right, so only one hit so far for Stevie
Yeah.
Nicol, and I would think I would have to agree with you on that one, because like I said, not even in the squad for Unai Emery. Probably is time for Mesut Ozil to look elsewhere.